Hello, my name is Liz Haen, and I have your ninth grade student in my English 9 honors class. They could be in hour 3, they could be in hour 5, or hour 6. So I'm sending out this email or this video message just to give you a general rundown of how things are going. A couple things on the district level, a couple things on the school level, and then I can inform you about what to expect in the English class. So the first thing I do want to point out, or that I do want to identify, is the district initiatives revolving around food and technology. That the school is going to be offering lunch and breakfast pickups on Mondays at 4 different locations, and those will be listed either here or there. But we're doing them once a week instead of every day to minimize exposure and contact with people. So when students, and this is for any child in the district that is ages 1 to 18. So they don't have to be currently enrolled in Matamidai, and you're not going to be asked for identification or anything like that. They're just going to offer food, give it in a bag, and give you 5 breakfasts and 5 lunches per student that you're picking them up for. The other thing that the district is offering is technology rentals. So you can contact the district and let them know whether or not your child or children need access to a laptop or Chromebook to make sure that they can do their work. You can so that information or that availability should be open. The deadline for requesting technology has passed. However, they are pretty understanding if for some reason, like, technology isn't perfect, and so if you have a device at home that all of a sudden goes kaput and now your student needs access to some technology, you can reach out and ask if there's any way that you can get your hands on one or if your student can get one. So I just wanted to make sure that you are aware of at least those two very important elements of this distance learning circumstance that we're in. A couple things that I want to talk about in terms of Matamidai High School in particular. That the first thing that we've been talking about extensively, and when I say we, I mean the teachers, the administration, the superintendent. We've been talking about how grades are going to be calculated, and I hate to say it, but there has not been a determined idea of how grades will be determined. Like it hasn't been defined yet. The reason for that is there's a bunch of different ways about making sure that students get these grades on their transcript, but every one of those grades has an impact and how other institutions are seeing them. So, for example, there was some concern about providing A through F scores, and so maybe we should just have all students go pass fail. But after reaching out, the NCAA, which watches or like is the watches or takes care of all collegiate athletes, they say that they are determining a pass to be the equivalent of a D minus, and so which seems rather rigid, but it's what they're going with. And so it's reasons like that we are looking at a bunch of different opportunities or ways to go about doing grades considering the distance learning. So there has not been a definitive answer about how to calculate grades in this circumstance. So we're not sure if it's going to go A through F. I don't know about what's going to happen with pass fail. From my understanding, it didn't look like we were going to go that route. Whether or not the 80-20 formative or summative formative was going to be part of that. But I just wanted to give you a heads up that grading and how the grades will be calculated have not been determined yet. So until that has happened, what we as instructors have been told to do is that still give assessments. So any type of work that we assign our students, still give assessments, and then put the grades into parent view, but we're going to check a box that says not for grade. So you will still have access to grades. You will still see how your student is doing, but at this time, we are not calculating those scores into the final grade. So you will see the grade book updated, and it will have a number with that assessment. So, for example, if there is a brief activity that was out of 5 points and a student scored 4.5 out of 5, you would see that 4.5, but it would not be calculated into the final grade. That once we have been given more information and once the district has come down to a conclusion, then those grades will be determined how they function into the final grade. But I just wanted to give you a heads up. We wanted to maintain communication so that you knew how your student was faring in class via parent view, but we also didn't want that to influence the scores or the grades quite yet. So that's what the circumstances are there. The students should have material posted or something to do every day. And so if your child says, I don't have anything to do, you might want to ask specifically and just go through their schedule. What did you do for your first hour class? What did you do for your second hour class, third hour, etc. Just to double check. And you can always, the teachers should be posting this material so that you should be able to access and see, at least get a summary or see what's happening. So just give a head like this, and the students will have material posted on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays are the designated not free days, but days for work or meet with teachers during those days. And so the students should be able to meet with their teachers by demand whenever they need to, but Friday is a designated day for students to be able to reach out to staff and be able to communicate with them. And one way that we have been encouraged to do that as staff members is to use the product Google Meet. Because we are a Google school, we have free access to all of the Google products. And so Google Meet is kind of like Zoom or Microsoft Teams or Skype for Business. Those are all video conferencing tools that you might be familiar with. Google Meet is just a district specific product that we're going to be using. It's Google in general, but the reason that the district wants us to use Google Meet for conferencing with students or meeting with students about or tutoring or help or anything like that is because that we can the only people that are allowed to be on the Google Meet are people with district emails. And so we won't have outside people coming in, and we can also log when students have enrolled or have participated in the Google Meet. And so Google Meet is just a way in real time to meet with a teacher. And some teachers are utilizing that for full class discussion. Some teachers are utilizing that as like a question and answer type of situation, meaning like students can log into Google Meet and meet with the teacher to get some help. And it's a really great resource. Students do not need to have a web camera if they don't want to. In fact, they can use it. They can use their phone, and so it's both audio and visual, which are not mandatory. It's just an option that students can do, or they can chat. So like a real-time chat shows up on the side where they can ask the teacher questions and the teacher can answer. Now, specifically for English 9 honors, we are in the middle of the research paper, and we're going to continue with that. The students have all of their resources that they need for the research paper, and they So that's what we're going to be continuing to do. I will be using Google Classroom, where I upload all of their assignments, and I will have videos. I will also provide opportunities where I say, I'm going to be in Google Meet for an hour, drop in if you've got a question. And I also am totally willing to have a student schedule a time to meet with me virtually like this. And so, and that could be at any point throughout the day. They just need to schedule it with me. Um, I will be using Classroom. I will also be using Remind. That's a tool that I've been using throughout the school year, and some parents and guardians are already enrolled in Remind. And if you're not, and you want to keep on top of your students' work, I would highly suggest that you enroll, because I've been sending messages quite regularly. And by regularly, I mean typically maybe once a day or once every 2 days, reminding students of work that they need to be doing and where to access the work, etc., etc. Remind is also a really easy tool to reach out to me if you need to, rather than using the formal email. If you have a quick question that needs answering, I always like it. It's almost like a chat. You can send a question to me, I receive it, only I receive it, and then I can send an answer back. So I just wanted to give you the heads up of what's going on, or how to communicate with me, how I'm communicating with the students, and how you can get access to that. I have also told the students that deadlines are flexible. Like, this is crazy. And I acknowledge that. I'm in my own home. I'm trying to deal with a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old while my husband is also doing work from home. So it's been crazy. And because of that, I want to provide some flexibility, some solace for the students, and just grant them some grace for when they're having a hard time, as long as I'm given a heads up about that. Just say, hey, I'm not going to get this done, or this is when I expect to have it done. I'm more than happy to meet the students where they're at. This is not what anybody anticipated, and we'll do the best that we can. So the research paper is going to be done by the end of April, and then we will move on to Reading to Kill a Mockingbird. And I'm going to provide students the PDF version of that so that they can annotate or write on it, because they have a tool that I've had them download earlier this year, and as well as direct them to audiobooks. So we'll be doing some work with that. But this is crazy. If you need anything, feel free to reach out to me. I'm always accessible via email. If you're on my Remind, you can send out a message via Remind. Just know that you're not alone. Everybody's in this, and as long as you communicate with me what you need, or communicate with any of the teachers, the admin, we'll make sure that you and your students get through this time successfully. Okay, so all the best to you and your family, and I hope that you're staying safe, sane, and healthy.